Good morning, students. Today I am going to explain a prose lesson for first language English medium students. It's a very interesting story, so all of you should listen because it shows the sacrifice made by a couple each other. You can understand, you can see what is the sacrifice which they did. The title of this story is The Gift of the Magi. The gift of the Magi. You know the meaning of gift. You used to give some gift or present it on the occasion of some birthday or some other place. So you know the meaning of gift. Here, the gift of the Magi. That Magi means they are the three wise men who gave a present to baby Jesus, newborn baby Jesus, on the manger. That is the gift. They were considered as the wisest people. They traveled long and lastly they wanted to give a gift to the newborn Jesus. That is called as a Magi. So here the title is the gift of the Magi. The gift of the Magi. So the author compared the gift with the gift. The author compared the gift given by the couple with the gift given by Magi in the past. So it is, this Magi is related to Bible. It is related to a Bible. So we can say I will explain this story first, and after that I will read that lesson. You should open your textbook and you should concentrate at that time. The Gift of the Magi. It is written by O. Henry. He was very famous short story writer. His works were very famous short story writer O. Henry. So here the lesson starts that Della, the main characters in this lesson are, one is Della, another is Jim. Jim actual name was James Dillingham. That is his actual name. So main characters were Della and then her husband James Dillingham. So Della wanted to give a gift to Jim. It was on the eve of that birthday of Jim. She loved her husband very much. She sincerely loved her husband. She was very decent. She was very good man and most affectionate man. So she loved, or her love was very ardent or sincere love. So Della wanted to give a birthday present to Jim in the next day. So she has already earned some money. She had already earned some money while purchasing some goods from the grocery shop and some other things. She bargained, she made bargaining, and after that she could earn a few amount only. It was only $1.87 only. $1.87. Cents means just like our paise. Under paise is 1 rupee. In the same way, she has earned $1.87, which was earned, or which she has earned for the last few months by anticipating the birthday of her husband. She has bargained with Paris money, or we can say that she bargained with the grocery shop and other shopping places, but even then she got only a few amount. She counted it again and again. It was only $1.87. She became sad because that amount was not enough to purchase a valuable gift to her husband Jim. $1.87. It was insufficient to purchase a very valuable present to her loving husband Jim. So she sobbed, or she cried for a few minutes, for hours. For few hours she cried. She began to sob, or she began to cry, because she thought that she would be unable to purchase a valuable gift to her husband Jim. But after a few minutes, unexpectedly, some ideas came into her mind. Suddenly, some ideas came into her mind. Her hair was very beautiful and very long. Her hair was very beautiful and very long. That means it reached below the knee. It is very beautiful and very long. That was her possession. She was proud of her long hair. Della was very proud of her long hair. In the same way, her husband was very proud of her golden watch. A very good watch. She got a golden watch. It was already given by his grandfather. So both of them were very, very proud of their possession. Della was owing, or she possessed a very beautiful long hair. She was very proud of it. So she stood before the mirror. At that time, it fell below the knee. Her hair, long hair, fell below the knee. So she immediately came down. She came downstairs and she went to the market. She searched for an hour. She searched for an hour to find out a new shop to get a very valuable possession, very attractive gift to her husband. She searched a few hours to find out a new shop and to get a new, or find out an attractive gift to her husband. Lastly, she sold her hair, beautiful hair, she sold. So after that, she tried to get a very valuable possession. Very valuable gift to her husband, Jim. So she purchased a very valuable gift for Jim. It was very golden strap, very beautiful strap which was fitted for her husband. It was very beautiful strap which was already suited for her husband. Understood? So she paid $21 for that. She paid $21 for that watch. Then it was a platinum fob chain. Platinum fob chain. Platinum fob chain. It is very attractive. It is original pure gold. So she bought it and she was very happy. So she returned home, and after reaching home, she tried to make coffee. She spent a few hours to cook, to prepare coffee, and after that she sat by the dining table. She was waiting to give this thing to her husband. So on that day, her husband Jim came in time. In the meanwhile, previously Jim earned a high amount. Per week he got $30. But after that, what happened? Some business was collapsed, and after that he became poor. When he was rich, Jim was able to gain $30 per week. But now Jim got only $20. That was the main condition. Otherwise, she could have given that gift without any difficulty. But her family condition also is completely changed. That is the main difficulties arise in that family. Anyway, one day or other, she understood everything, so she sold her long beautiful hair, and after she came back and she cooked, prepared, she boiled coffee, and after that she was waiting to the arrival of that Jim. So on that day, Jim reached in time. Then after that, Jim was completely surprised by seeing that Della. Before that, Della came, and before Della tried to repair her hair. Then just when Jim saw Della, he was already surprised because Della's beautiful hair, he could not see beautiful hair. She hugged Della for a few minutes, and after that Della took her gift to Jim. Della took her valuable gift, or that means platinum fob chain. She was ready to give that chain to Jim, but she could not give it. She was ready to give, but Jim could not use it because Jim also thought to sell his watch, very valuable watch, for purchasing a gift to Della. Understood? Jim also decided to sell his watch to purchase a comb to Della. So both of them lost their precious gift, even though they could not use it. That is the content of this story. They sacrificed their valuable possession. They sacrificed their valuable possession. They sacrificed their valuable possession. Della lost her beautiful hair, and the same way Jim lost his beautiful watch, which he got from his grandfather. So both of them lost their watch to give a birthday present each other. It shows their sacrifice, it shows their love and affection. But what happened? They already disposed of, they already sold their valuable possession to purchase a gift to each other. That is the content. It shows the real love or sincere love of a husband and wife. It shows very sincere love of husband and wife. I am reading, and after that you should open your textbook. $1.87 that was on, and 60 cents of it was pennies. Pennies saved 1 and 2 at the time by bulldozing the grocer. That bulldozing means just after making fear and other things, bulldozing the grocer and vegetable man and the butcher until one's cheeks burned with the silent imputation of parsimony. That parsimony means miser, very stingy. That's such a close dealings implied. 3 times Della counted it, $1.87, and the next day would be Christmas. $1.87 that was all, and 60 cents of it was pennies. So Della counted the money which I saved for the last few months. She has been saving money for the last few months by anticipating to purchase a gift. But even then she was unable to purchase the full amount. That amount was insufficient. She counted it again and again. The amount which she collected, or the amount which she earned, was only $1.87. The amount which she earned was only $1.87. It was insufficient to get a valuable present. There was clearly nothing to do but flop down on the shabby little couch and howl. So Della did it, which instigates the moral reflection that life is made up of soft sniffles and smiles, with the sniffles predominating. There was clearly nothing to do but to flop down on the shabby little couch and howl. That means she thought that there is no other way except to cry. So she sat on that old couch and she began to cry, or she began to weep, because there is no other solution. She could not find a remedial measure, because she thought, how can I get more money? So she cried, or she wept for a few minutes, while the mistress of the home is gradually subsiding from the first stage to second. Take a look at this home, a furnished flat at $8 per week. It did not exactly beggar description, but it certainly had that weighed on the lookout for the mendicancy squad. That means beggars. Mendicancy squad means beggars. While the mistress of the home is gradually subsiding from the first stage to the second. Take a look at the home, a furnished flat at $8 per week. It did not exactly beggar description, but it certainly had that weighed on the lookout for the mendicancy squad. That means firstly their flat was for $8 per week. They wanted to pay as a rent for $8 per week. So it did not exactly beggar description, but it is certainly had that word on the gradually their income was subsided. Firstly their income was very high, but gradually it declined. It was declined. while the mistress of the home is gradually subsiding from the first stage to second. First stage, that means previously they were very rich, then gradually they came down. First stage, second stage, third stage, etc. They came down slowly, stage by stage. In the vestibule below, that means vestibule means entrance, vestibule below. In the vestibule below, a letter box into which no letter would go, and an electric button from which no moral finger could coax a ring. Also appertaining therein was a card bearing the name of Mr. James Dillingham Young. In a vestibule below was a letter box into which no letter would go. Downstairs, in the entrance, there was a post box is there. In the entrance, vestibule means entrance. There was a post box. In that post box, no letter was put, no letter was dropped till this date. Near that post box, there was an electric bell also. Nobody rang that bell. Nobody rang that bell because it became very old and nobody came there and there was no letter from there. All this shows their pitiable condition. It is very old one really. In the just near that a board, name board was there. There was a name board near that box. The name, but carried that James Dillingham. That is the name. Name board was there. James Dillingham. You can see that whenever we are going to a house, we can see the name of some person, or sometimes there will be the name of some house or the name of some person also we can see. So in the same way here also, the name of that, there was a card showing James Dillingham. It is the name of that James, original name is James Dillingham. So we can see how was the condition. Firstly, in the vestibule there was an old box, old post box, and an electric bell was there, but no letter was put in that bell till that day, and nobody rang that electric bell also. But the Dillingham had been flung to the breeze during a former period of prosperity when its possessor was being paid to $300 per week. Now, when the income was shrunk to $20, though they were thinking seriously of contracting to a modest, unassuming. But whenever Mr. James Dillingham Young came home and reached his flat above, he was called Jim and greatly hugged by Mrs. James Dillingham Young, already introduced to you as Della, which is all very good. The Dillingham had been flung to the breeze during the former period of prosperity. So previously they were very prosperous, they were very rich. At that time they were able to get an income of $30 per week, but now it is in decline, or now it was decreased. Now it is reduced or declined or decreased, whatever may be considered. Their income is now decreased from $80 to $20 per week. It was insufficient. It was insufficient. But whenever Mr. James Dillingham came home and reached his flat above, he was called Jim. James Dillingham was called as Jim by his wife Della. Della finished her cry and attended to her cheeks with the powder. Frank, she stood by the window and looked out Delhi as grey cat walking a grey fence in a grey backyard. Tomorrow would be Christmas Day and she had only $1.87 which to buy Jim a present. She had been saving every penny she could for months with this result. $20 a week does not go far. Expense had been greater than she had calculated. They always are only $1.87 to buy present for Jim. Here Jim, many a happy hour she had spent planning for something nice for him, something fine and rare and sterling, something just a little bit near to being worthy of the honor of being owned by Jim. So she counted that money again and again. It was only $1.87. It was insufficient. She thought that the money was inadequate or the money was insufficient to buy a valuable gift for her husband. There was a pier glass that was supporting bit. There was a pier glass between the windows of the room. Perhaps you have seen a pier glass in $8 flat. A very thin and very aged person may, by observing its reflection in a rapid sequence of longitudinal strips, obtain a fair, accurate conception of his looks. Della, being slender, had mastered the art. So we can see there was a clear glass between the windows of the room. It shows in this para the writer says about the furniture and about the nature of that room. There was a clear glass between the window of the room. Perhaps you have seen a clear glass in $8 flat, a very thin and very agile person by observing his reflection in a rapid sequence of longitudinal strips obtained a very accurate conception of his looks. Della, being slender, had mastered the art. Suddenly she whirled from the window and stood before the glass. Her eyes were shining brilliantly, but her face had lost its color within 20 seconds. Rapidly she pulled down her hair, let it fall to its full length. Her hair fell down. She just, when it was fallen, or you can say, when it fell down, it reached below the knee. So when she was standing below the mirror, she understood it. She saw her long, beautiful hair. Immediately, suddenly, an idea crept or an idea entered in her mind. Now, there were two possessions of James Bellingham, young, in which they both took a mighty pride. One was Jim's gold watch, and that had been his father's and his grandfather's. The other was Bella's hair. Had the Queen Sheba lived in the flat across the ashraft, Bella would have let her hair hang out of the window some days to dry, just to depreciate Her Majesty's jewel and gift. Had King Solomon been the janitor, with all his treasures piled up in the basement, Jim would have pulled out his watch every time he passed, just to see him pluck it bared from away. It shows the beauty of that. Even King Solomon would have felt envy by seeing her long hair. That pair I just read. It is very beautiful. Even the King Solomon might have felt envy by seeing her long, beautiful hair. Now there were two possessions. They were having two possessions. Jella was having her long, beautiful hair, and the other man, that means her husband Jim, was having a beautiful watch, beautiful gold watch, which he got from his grandfather. Now there were two possessions of the James Bellingham Youngs, in which both took a mighty. They were very proud of their possession. They were very proud of their possession. That means Della possessed the beautiful long hair, and then Jim possessed the beautiful watch also. One was Jim's gold watch, that had been his father's and grandfather's. The other was Bella's hair. Had Queen Sheba lived in flat across the after, Bella would have let her hair hang out of the window some day to dry, just to depreciate her majesty, jewels and gifts. Had King Solomon been the janitor, with all his treasures pulled up in the basement, Jim would have pulled out the watch every time he passed, just to see him pluck at his beard from envy. So it shows, he has already made a comparison. Even King Solomon might have felt envy by seeing that beautiful hair. So now Bella's beautiful hair fell about her, rippling and shining like a cascade of brown waters. A sound, it reached below her knee and made itself almost a garment for her. And then she did it up again nervously and quickly. Once she faltered for a minute and stood still while a tear or two splashed in the worn red carpet. So she was standing. She stood near that mirror. At that time, it fell below the knee. It was very long and beautiful. So suddenly an idea came in her mind. On went her old brown jacket. On went her old brown hat with a veil of skirts and with the brilliant sparkle still in her eyes. She fluttered out. She just moved out. She fluttered out of the door and down the stairs. So a sudden idea came to her mind, and after that she thought to sell her hair to a shopkeeper. So she came down. After that she came down. There she stopped the designer mine, saffron, hair boards of all kinds. One flight of Bella ran and collected herself painting, Madam, large, too white, chilly, hardly looked the saffron. So she searched for a few minutes. After that she saw a shop showing that all kinds of hair will be accepted. Will you buy my hair? Asked Della. Della stood before that shop and asked, will you buy my hair? I buy hair, said Madam. take your hat off and let us have a sight. And look, you take your hat. I am ready to buy your hair. First you should take you remove your hat. After that, I want to see what is the length. Down rippled the brown cascade, just like a waterfall. Cascade means just like a waterfall. Her hair was compared with the cascade or waterfall. Waterfall, $20, said madam, lifting the mass with a practiced hand. He was ready, that shopkeeper was ready to give $20 for her hair. Give it to me, quick, said Della. Yeah, okay, you cut and you take it and you give me $20. Fastly you do all these things. Oh, and the next 2 hours trip, by on the rosy wings, forget the hashed metaphor. She was ransacking the stores for Jim's present. After that, she was ransacking. Ransacking means searching, searching. She found it at last. It surely had been made for Jim and no one else. There was no other like it in any of the stores, and she had turned all of them inside out. It was platinum forward chain, simple and chastened design, properly proclaiming its value by substance alone and not by malicious commendation. As all good things should do, it was even worthy of the watch. As soon as she saw it, she knew that it must be Jim's. It was like him. Quietness and value. The description applied to both. $21 they took from her for it, and she hurried home with 87 cents. With that chain on his watch, Jim might be properly anxious about the time in any company. Grand as the watch was, he sometimes looked at it on the sly on account of the old leather strap that he used in place of chain. So she searched to find out a new shop. Lastly, she found a very good shop, and she thought that she just found an attractive fob chain. So she thought that it is suitable for my husband or Jim. Then Della reached home. Her intoxication gave in a little to prudence and reason. She got out, curling irons and lighted the gas and went to work repairing the ravages made by generosity added to love, which is always tremendous task, dear friends, and mammoth task. She reached home, and after that she began to lit the stove, and she just prepared coffee. Within 40 minutes, her head was covered with the tiny close-laying curls that made her look wonderfully like a tall schoolboy. She looked at her reflection in mirror long, carefully and critically. She repaired her hair. Now she looked like a very young girl. She tried to repair her hair. If Jim does not kill me, she said to herself, before he takes a second look at me, he will say, I look like a Coney Island chorus girl. But what could I do? What could I do with $1.87? She thought, I don't know what Jim will say, because I had no other option except to sell my beautiful hair. But she had some suspicion. She had some suspicion about the attitude of her husband. She suspected about the attitude of her husband Jim. At 7 o'clock, the coffee was made and the frying pan was on the back of the stove, hot and ready to cook the chops. Jim was never late. Della doubled the fob chain in her hand and sat on the corner of the table near the door that he already scented. Then she heard his step on the stairway down on the first flight, and she turned white for just a moment. She had a habit of saying little silent prayers about the simplest everyday things, and now she whispered, please God, make him think I am still pretty. So on that day, Jim reached in time. Della thought in her mind, please God, you just make him in a good mood. So you just try to make, or she should think me as pretty as before. She should think me. She prayed to God to make me pretty. I am still pretty. That is beautiful. Make him think I am still pretty. He prayed to God. The door opened and Jim stepped in and closed it. He looked thin and very serious. Poor fellow. He was only 22, and to be burdened with the family, he needed a new overcoat and he was without gloves. She thought about her husband. Was very good. My husband was very good, she thought. But what he can do, the income which he is earning is very low. He was unable to meet all the expense. Jim stopped inside the door as immovable as a letter at the scent of quail. That means small game. A small game bird is called a squirrel. Squirrel, his eyes were fixed upon Della, and there was an expression in them that she could not read, and it terrified her. It was no anger, no surprise, no disapproval, no horror, nor any of the sentiments that she had been prepared for. He simply stared at her fixedly with a peculiar expression on his face. Jim stopped inside the door, as immovable as a setter at the scent of quail. That means the scent of quail means it is a small game bird. Scent of quail, small game bird. His eyes were fixed upon Della. He just looked like a small bird. He looked thoroughly on the face of that Della. And there was an expression in them that she could not read, and it terrified her. It was not anger, not surprise, not disapproval, not horror, nor any of the sentiments that she had been prepared for it. He simply stared at her fixedly with that peculiar expression on his face. Jim was surprised to see Della, so she stared, she looked thoroughly. Della wriggled, twisted off the table and went for him. Jim, darling, she cried, don't look at me that way. So Della thought, why my husband is looking that way? So Della thought, Jim, you please don't look me in another way. Don't look me in another. Don't look me that way. Don't look me that way. I had hair cut off and sold because I could not have lived through Christmas without giving you a present. I still grow out again. You want mine. I just had to do. My hair grows awfully fast. Say Merry Christmas, Jim, and let us be happy. You don't know what a beautiful, nice gift I have got for you. Della consoled. Della told Jim, you please don't worry. You please don't bother about my hair. It will grow fast. So tomorrow is here. Tomorrow is Christmas Day. Tomorrow is Christmas Day. I told you birthday, not birthday, Christmas Day in the beginning. It was Christmas Day. Tomorrow is Christmas Day. So I wanted to give something to you, so we can enjoy. Jim, darling, she cried, don't look at me that way. I had my hair cut off and sold because I could not have lived through Christmas without giving you a present. It will grow out again. You won't mind. I just had to do. My hair grows awfully fast. Say Merry Christmas. You say Merry Christmas. You say because tomorrow is Christmas Day. Don't take it as a serious thing. My hair will grow fast, so don't mind it. You leave it all these subjects. She requested. You have cut off your hair. Asked him laboriously. That means without getting any time, you have already sold. You have already cut your hair. He asked, as if he had not arrived at that patent fact, yet even after understandable level, cut it off and sold it, said Della. Don't you like me just as anyone? I mean, without my hair, you don't mind it, Jim. I will be always with you, which is for I decided to buy a gift for you, only by thinking that I have already sold my hair. Jim looked about the room curiously. You say your hair is gone, he said, with an air almost idiocy. Idiocy means stupidity. Idiocy. You need not to look for it, said Della. It's sold. I will tell you, sold and gone to. It's Christmas Eve, boy. Tomorrow is Christmas. Today is the previous day. So I sold it. Be good to me, for it and for you. Maybe the hairs on my head were numbered. She went on with sudden serious sweetness. But nobody could ever count my love for you. Shall I put the chops on, Jim? You cannot say how much affection I am showing you. Nobody others cannot count my love to you. Out of his trance, Jim seemed quickly to me. He unfolded his Della for 10 seconds. Let us regard with discreet scrutiny some inconsequential object in the other direction. $8 a week or $1 million a year. What is the difference? A mathematician or a witch would give you a wrong answer. The Magi brought valuable gift, but that was not among them. This dark assertion will be illuminated later on. So whether the $8 whether the cost was $8 or something, whether the gift is valuable or very low, we should not compare. What is the difference between these two? Magi has given a valuable gift to newborn baby, but according to the author, they are the wisest people. Even though they have already given, they have given that gift by sacrificing their possession, valuable possession. That is the important thing which we should understand. It shows the sacrifice and affection, sincere love. Jim drew a package from his overcoat pocket and threw it upon the table. Don't make any mistake, then, he said about me. I don't think there's nothing in the way of haircut or a shave or shampoo that could make me like my girl any less. But if you all unwrap that package, you may see why you had me going violet first. White fingers and a nimble toe at the string and paper, and then an ecstatic scream of joy, and then, alas, a quick feminine change to hysterical tears and ways, necessitating the immediate employment of all the comforting powers of the Lord of Light. For there lay the combs of set combs side by neck that Della had worshipped for long in Broadway window, beautiful combs, pure tortoise shell with the jeweled rims, just the shade to wear in the beautiful vanished hair. They were expensive combs, she knew, and her heart had simply craved and yearned over them without the least hope of possession. And now they were his, but the tresses that were donned, the coveted adornments were gone. So Jim also purchased a thing which he wanted to give Della. That was a beautiful tortoise comb, a beautiful tortoise shell which was longed by Della for many years. Really, the gift which was purchased by Jim was longed by Della for many years. But even then, what happened? Della was unable to wear that beautiful gift because she sold her hair. But she agreed them to her bosom, and at length she was able to look at it with dim eyes and smile and say, "My hair grows so fast, Jim." And then Della leaped up like a little singed cat and cried, "Oh!" Jim had not seen his beautiful present. She held it out to him eagerly upon her open palm. The dull precious metal seemed to flash with a reflection of her bright and ardent spirit. He started, "Daddy Jim, I hunted all over town to find it. You have to look at the time 100 times a day now. Give me your watch. I want to see how it looks." Jim took that comb, and she wanted to give it to Della, but Della was unable to wear that comb because she lost her hair. In the same way, Della took that watch there, but he was unable to wear because he has already sold that watch. Without watch, there is no need of strap. Instead of obeying, Jim tumbled down on the couch and put his hands under the back of his head and smiled. Dell, said he, "let's put our Christmas present away and keep them away. They are too nice to use just at present. I sold the watch to get the money to buy your phone, and now suppose you put the chops on." The Magi, as you know, they are wise men, wonderfully wise men, who brought the gift to the babe in the manger. They invented the art of giving Christmas presents. Being wise, their gift were no doubt wise ones, possibly bearing the privilege of exchange in case of duplication. And here I have lamely related to you the uneventful chronicle of two foolish children in a flat who mostly unwisely sacrificed each other, the greatest treasures of their house. But in the last word to the wise of these days, let it be said that all who give gift, those who were the wisest, of all who give and receive gifts, such as they are wisest, everywhere they are wisest, they are Magi. So we can say that the poet considers that they are the wisest people because even though they have given a gift by sacrificing their valuable possession. So really, this Magi they were they were wise people who traveled for a long to give a gift to newborn Jesus. But really, they were considered the wisest. Della and Jim, they were considered as the wisest people because they sacrificed their valuable possession. So there is no difference between the two, even though the value is less. So that's the end of the story. I have already stopped. Please don't. Thank you. You please don't try. You please don't forget to subscribe.